Hey, what's up, everybody? Another day, another dollar, right? Another day, another dollar. So let's jump right into it. Let me share my screen. Entire screen. All right. So, man, right now Tesla is up 8.23%. Or excuse me, well, on the week, right at the start of the week, post the pre-market launch, but currently up 2.20% in the pre-market today. So let's take a look at the potential red folder news. And let's see, today we had some red folder news right at the beginning at 3 a.m. We have some more coming here in 25 minutes. A couple of red folder and news and some orange folder news. Then some orange folder news at 8. Looks like again at 9, and then later on today at 8:30. So we'll have to see how this news impacts the market. And let's take a look and see what the top news is today. Let me do a quick refresh. So Tesla is going. There was something I wanted to point out with the market. Tesla shares are extremely volatile and had 133 moves. Da, 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 da. The previous biggest move 13 days ago when the stock gained 3.5%. That was something I wanted to jump 7.6% in the morning. The initial rollout was limited scale. Uh, huh. I don't remember what it was. Wait, did I write it down? Let me see. Oh, yeah, this is what it was. So yesterday I saw this news about Tesla owners being able to make money by turning their cars into robotaxis. So this is a pretty interesting story, right? So if you want to, oh, they took it down. Oh man, hold on, let me look. Looks like they took it down. Let me see if I can. Let me try that search that we talked about. Tesla owners. Let's see if the search works. Nope. Hmm. Let's try Google. Let's see. Yeah, a couple of billion poured into the market yesterday. That was super crazy. Like, that was crazy. But yeah, so now Tesla owners could turn their electric vehicles into robo taxis, which should open up opportunities for both Tesla and the owners to make some extra money. So if you want to read about the details, you can Google that. But I think that's pretty interesting. So a lot of news came out Sunday and yesterday. So let's take a look at any potential news that could affect the market today. Let me do a quick refresh just to make sure. Yeah, I did see this yesterday. Tesla's facing a wrongful death lawsuit. Um, it's interesting, right? To from the other side or opposite side of the business, people will want to take advantage of the, attorneys that is will suggest taking advantage of, you know, pursuing such lawsuits when there's a lot of media coverage. So any little news will kind of like light a fire to, you know, potentially go viral, right? So I think, it's just a strategy that a lot of attorneys or good attorneys seem to use to get, to get their suit, um, their lawsuit coverage. Um, I'm at a loss for words, but yeah. So yeah, that's I seen. There was some. I can't really remember, but I think they had. Well, I won't speculate because I can't remember exactly what it said. So, but if I find this article again, this news article, then I'll talk about it if I find it. But let's see. Tesla stock is rising. Robo launch was great, but it had its share of problems. Tesla stock charges higher. While Robotaxi launch was the easy part, streetwise, Tesla sued over Model S crash that killed three in New Jersey. Yeah, that's the same news as the other one. U.S. safety agency contacts Tesla on Robotaxi issues seen in online videos. Tesla sued over New Jersey crash. Yeah, same thing. Da, da, da. Tesla stock surges after Musk Robotaxi rollout. Okay, so now we're getting into yesterday. Yeah, like 100 billion. Like, man, he made a lot of money yesterday. uh, but where was that one? Let's look at that. Where it said, let's see what they said about this. There was, what was the other one I was looking for? Oh, this one. So let's take a quick peek at these. Tesla extended gains in pre-market trading Tuesday. Yep, shares were up 2.6 at 350. Dang, it went as high as 357. That's crazy. Um, yeah, like I said, it went crazy yesterday. I want to show you guys something that something powerful with money when it comes to investing, right? And growing your money from like a small amount to a much greater amount, right? Um, and I have a video coming on it soon, hopefully within the next with this week. All right, so be on the lookout for that. A lot of videos circulated on X showing impressed riders. Yep. Tesla speeding slightly in the 35. One video posted Rob Moore showed the Tesla speeding slightly in the 35 mile and struggling with the left turn, ending up in the lane for oncoming traffic for a few seconds. No cars were approaching. To be sure it was an error, eventually there's going to be some type of accident, whether it's Tesla's fault or not, said Edward Jones, analyst, adding it will take time to see how Tesla's record developed. He raised Tesla shares hold and doesn't have a price target on stock. Alphabet's also, yeah, that's Google's competitive SFD or SDF, self driving vehicles. I forget what I thought it was I can't remember. Um, 250,000. So Tesla is beating Waymo in terms of overall like performance and everything. But let's say it reports a roughly 80% reduction in injury causing crashes. Level of safety. Then can we get to it? Waymo has few runs on the board. He said Rose has, yeah, we know. Looking ahead, there are questions about scaling at Tesla and Waymo along with regulatory oversight. Rose rates Tesla stock buy and doesn't have a price. Where's the issue? But it had its share of problems. Okay, so maybe it was just the 35 miles an hour and the oncoming, ending up in the lane for oncoming traffic. So now it says no cars were approaching. So it would have been interesting to see the technology if there were oncoming, if there was oncoming traffic, right? Because Tesla uses different technology than Waymo and Volks, which is the other self-driving vehicle. Um, so it's Waymo and Volks is Tesla's top competitors, and Waymo and Volks use the same technology. Tesla uses a different technology. So it would have been interesting to see how the technology shapes up, in these scenarios. So anyway, let's take a look at the other one. TSA, National Highway Traffic Safety. We looked at this yesterday, seeking information from Tesla after seeing videos. Bloomberg News reported yesterday. Yeah, so we'll see how this news shapes up. I don't see anything else, so let's go ahead and talk about what I seen yesterday. All right, when it comes to making money. Now, to be completely transparent, like I'm trading larger positions, 10 to 50K, 10 to 50K. But I'm also testing simultaneously significantly smaller positions that I haven't seen tested in the marketplace just yet. Okay. So I wanted to be diligent in my studies, right? Let me pull this up. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where you at, my guy? So let's take a look at this. All right. So I put this in a separate journal. Okay. So yesterday, let's take a look at the stock, man. It went crazy. All right. Yesterday was crazy, like straight out the gate. Boom. Remember, I talked about this in the pre-market prep yesterday, saying that right out the gate, Tesla could start out very strong, and I like to see it retest, the previous day high, and that's exactly what it did, and then it took off. Now, unfortunately, I was unable to trade live, with my real money because of an issue with my brokerage account. Something about it was a very minute issue, but I called them and they quickly resolved it. So I wanted to tell them, like, y'all know y'all made me miss out on like 5 to 10K yesterday. Uh, but anyway, they because my mentor made 50. My mentor made 50K yesterday. That's crazy, man. He made 50K. I was it was looking like this move wasn't going to shape up because listen, I think because he got in about this point right here, right? And notice that we had this pullback, this second pullback right after the first retest. This is what we call a retest, breakout and retest of a key level. So this is the key level, breakout, retest it, and then we continue the momentum uh, in the continue the uptrend, right? We continue the uptrend, but then we had a second pullback. And I mean, this was aggressive for sellers to step in. Look at that wick. So sellers stepped in aggressively. Now, this is a $3 move. So from 334 to 331, that's a $3 move. Okay. So yo, that's a lot. For the position that he was in, I think he was down at least, I want to say $6,000 to $10,000, man, because he made 50. That means he was in a huge position. And man, just to sit through that and just be like, yo, I don't know. Like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So, like, the most I could do is 10 to 50K. Like, I can't sit through, you know, As far as the overall position, like I'm assuming he was like at 100, 150, maybe 200K. Cause I mean 50K, that's a lot. Like that's a lot. Um, that he made in one trade. Cause normally he's doing like between 3 to 7K, or as high as I've seen is like 9K. And he did make 100,000 in a swing trade for Tesla, because it jumped up significantly. The price did, over a couple of days, early on in May, and so he made 100,000 that first week in May. So I was like, man, I was just like happy for him, and just like, man, I can't wait to that's my, to I'm doing the same numbers. But yeah, he did that. So I'm like, yo, if he said it, like I can't sit through this type of pullback, right? So for me, if I see this wick right here forming, and then I see the next candle, sellers stepping in aggressively, which appears to be in this case, I'm like, yeah, I'm jumping out. Okay. And then I'll wait to see what happens. Cause like right here, you can see this is another re-entry point, because you can see the wick, on this down close candle right here. And then you can see buyers stepping in aggressively. So then I would have just re-entered. So I would have probably just jumped out at the close of this candle, then waited, right? Because you don't know. Like that's what I said. Like it sucks that you have to jump out, but it's better to protect your gains, your profits, and your overall account than to just let it just dwindle. Because once you listen, traders are running into the new traders run into the problem. Even intermediate traders, I'm hearing, are running into the problem of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, and revenge trading. So once you start losing money, then you start trying to chase the trades to try to recoup that money. And what ends up typically happening more often than not is people lose more money. So it's an ongoing cycle, right? So that's why I'm like, it's better to just go ahead and protect profits. Maybe the stock takes off the next candle, and you miss your entry, and then it just takes off and you don't get back in, but you secured some profit from the entry, right? From this little entry. um, Maybe it was a 50 cent, or a dollar. Because that could equate to, like, depending on the size of your position, that could equate to, $100 to $1,000 or more. It just depends on the size of your position. So it's better to walk away with a profit, even if it's $50 or $100 or, $300, versus losing, 100, 300, 1,000, or 10,000. So to me, a win is a win, and a win is always better than a loss, no matter how you got it. So, but yeah, man, I feel like he at least sat through a $6 to $10,000 loss, before the trade actually took off, and there was no guarantee, right? We were waiting for other confluences, and the market decided to, move, and buyers kind of stepped in. You can see sellers were stepping in aggressively. You can see by this wick here, and then this down close candle. That was a pretty strong down close candle, right? So, but then you see the wick on the next candle, and buyers just stepped in and just kept stepping in, and we just took off. So, yeah, man. I wanted to show you. So here's what I want to show you. I did enter a because I couldn't enter a real trade with my paper with my real money, so I had to enter a paper trade. But I would have done this simultaneously anyway. So this is still the strategy, right? So because I want to demonstrate in real time what this looks like. Obviously, you can see I'm making money this month. I didn't take any trades, for the rest of the week. I wanted to study this thesis that I'm about to demonstrate or reveal to you today. So the only trade I took yesterday was this paper trade, because again I had an issue with my account that had to get resolved. Um, so listen, I've been looking at the smallest positions that, you can enter into, that can still make you money, right? The smallest position, because the what I'm hearing from the communities that I participate in is there seemed to be this perception that Tesla costs too much money, to enter trades and make money with. And this was even from a friend of mine who I trade with. He was like, man, I was like, he was like, I can't trade Tesla because it costs too much. I was like, what are you talking about? So I went in and checked this for myself. Because I had told him that I was like, nah, it's not true, man. I had took some smaller contracts and made money, but I didn't really pay too much attention to the details. But I wanted to pay very close attention to these details, right? So here's what here's what I did. The total position was 2,900. Don't fret if you don't have 2,900. Okay, this is not the point. Notice the number of contracts. So I did two of these yesterday. I did one contract that was $400, and then I did a second, which was $296 each. So it's $296 each times 10. Oops, don't say. $296 each times 10. That's what gives you the total entry cost. So what we're going to look at is just specifically the one contract of the 10, right? $296. And obviously overall, you can see so far I have um, earned $861. That's a 29, almost 30% return on my investment. But look, check this out. You can see I did the same thing in 16 minutes for that first initial contract. Um, but look, check this out. So at I got in. I want y'all to note these time frames too. I got in at 8:36, right? If you have bought just one contract, okay, 11 minutes later, your one contract would have made you $335, right? So you got in at 296, right? So you would have made you know, almost 40 bucks, right? Almost 40 bucks. It's like $39, right? Then you see here 50 bucks, right? 50 bucks. So a minute later, like I'm just trying to show y'all how it scales. Like, and what you're doing, what I'm doing is at different key levels. So you want to sell when the market is moving with strength, right? So these candles are moving with strength. So it's like boom, we reached this key level because we entered here. We reached this key level. So we want to scale out of the trade. So if you buy multiple contracts, that's where you scale out at these different key levels that I have drawn out on this. And these represent zones, right? Pricing zones. So once you reach a key level, you want to scale out of your position, okay, until you eventually scale out to zero. But let's say you only have one contract and you're like, I just want to see how far I could take this one con, right? If you had decided you wanted to get out at this point, you would have made $40. If you had decided to get out a little bit later, you would have made 50 bucks. Um, if you had decided, so at each key level, like these orange key levels, just focus on the orange key levels, right? That's what I'm showing you here. So 847, 848, and 858. 847, this was the candle I jumped out of. 848, and what was the other one? 858. So you see, we made this key level, and so I took out. So I got out at 3, and then 1. So at each of these levels, 296, we basically made $100. So if you had waited till 858, right, you would have made $100. Okay. So as the stock continues to grow, and people are looking like, oh man, I can't afford to get, but I'm like, I'm showing you, yes, you can. All right. One contract that was $296 would have made you, depending on how long you wanted to stay in the position, you could have made $40, 50, a little over 50, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, or 500. Listen, look at this. So this is basically 200 bucks right here, right? Because the position is 296. So let's just say 300. 3 from 500, that's 200 bucks. So you would have made 200 bucks. That's 901, right? So if we go to 901, here's 901. So we made some money here, but then we had a nice strong push. So it's like, man, you get that push, you want to just, kind of consider, jumping out of your position because again, you don't know when this reverse is going to happen. So we had a slight reversal and you don't know how far it's going to continue. See, like you don't know how far that reversal is going to continue. So each of these candles represent 1 minute. So each candle is 60 seconds. So you have the opportunity to jump out, but even one candle can be, pretty aggressive. Like look at how this is 349 to 347. That's $2 basically. So like I said, you can wait or the candle could look like this. Like even within that 60 seconds, typically it doesn't happen all the time unless there's some news. It typically looks like this. But that $1 to $2 move is significant and it can wipe out because of the momentum of that. The way the algorithm or the mathematics works is like it looks at that potential momentum when it's a significant move to the upside, like these candles here. So the same way you can have a significant or aggressive move, in or increase in price is the same way you can have aggressive or significant decrease in price. And this type of momentum can work for you or against you. So again, you don't know. So it's better to just like when you see profit, take profit. But anyway, getting back to the demonstration, right? So 200 bucks here and then 260 bucks at 906. So because we kept going, like look, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Another push. Another push. So now look at this. Okay. I want to show you something at 906 because on the 5 minute chart, yesterday at 9:05. Notice we didn't have any pullbacks. Every 5 minute candle was green. So if you're looking now, it costs money for a trading view to set up multiple views like this, but you can set up two. It'll give you two, I think, two. So you can have the 1 minute and the 5 minute chart showing. But what you can see is like, wait a minute, there's no pullbacks, and pullbacks are healthy. That's a healthy sign. You don't want to see just straight continuation because then you can expect a really significant drop. So you want to see like maybe some aggressive momentum, but then you want to see a pullback, a healthy pullback. And so I was expecting that pullback. Notice we was talking about it in the live session. My mentor called it out. He was like, listen, guys, I haven't seen a pullback yet. So you might want to consider either exiting the trade or scaling out because we haven't had a pullback yet. So I just want to call that out before the next candle. So he took profits. He scaled out some of his more of his position at this candle, as I did as well, following his lead. So yeah, but notice this pullback, right? This was from 346 to 342. That's $4 basically, almost $4. So that's what I'm saying. Like you don't know. But if you got in here early enough and not, let's say here, then it's cool. Like you could kind of sit through these types of pullbacks because you're cool. You have enough room between your entry and that pullback. So this was a really great run, really great run. Okay. But this is just an example. So anyway, look at what happened after that pullback. Man, it went crazy. Buyers just boom stepped in and then it just went crazy, man. So this was pretty significant. And like I said, my mentor made 50 racks. But notice this, right? So I got out at 2.6. So that one contract could have made you 500 or 260 $60. You got in at 296. So you're almost at 100% return on your investment. You're in the 90s basically, right? You're in the 90s. You're almost at 100% return on your investment. Um, that's crazy. Remember, if you looked at my earlier videos, what I talked about is our goal is 3 to 7%. I want to show people how much money you can make with just simply 3 to 7%. Okay. So I'm going to pull up something really quick. If you bear with me. Let me pull this up. And I can send you guys a link to this if you want. If you want. So that way you can have it for yourself. I can send you a link to this chat thread. Okay. So take a look at these numbers, man. I talked about our goal is just 3 to 7%. That's because what you see in the marketplace, as far as other investment vehicles like CDs, high yield savings account, man, you're not going to get like the compounded. And what we want is compounded, but you'll get the simple interest, right? And what that means is that you'll just basically just kind of make a little bit of money here and there. But I want to show you that in this pre-market prep, what I'm looking at going into every single trade. So when I make a live trade with my real money of 10 to 50K, I'm also going to enter into these types of trades simultaneously on the paper side, right? So I can have this information readily available for you guys, because it's important that everyone sees the possibility of how you can grow your money without a lot of effort. And this doesn't take a lot of effort. I want to show you why it's so easy for anyone to be able to do. Like it's not complicated at all. Trust me. And I'm a highly tech savvy person, and this is not complicated. This is like all you need is common sense. Because if you can look at the chart, right? While you're looking at the chart, it's like, okay, I got in. If I see like any indication that sellers are about to step in, I could just jump out. Okay. I can wait for ACE's signal to let me know when to get in, enter a trade, and I can let that trade ride for the entire day or the entire week, or I can wait for a signal when to get out or when to enter, right? So this is easy. Like I'm just trying to show you guys this is easy. This is the easy part. Okay. So it's like, boom, I would have told you like right here, this would have been the ideal point to get in. And if the market reversed, then we would have gotten out, right? So if it pulled back below a certain point, I would have signaled you guys to get out, right? Simple. So we would have only suffered because we're getting out at 1 to 3%. So if the trade begins to work against us, we're only suffering a loss of 1 to 3%. And that would have been a couple of dollars. All right. We're not losing, a lot of money. You can see 13% netted $40. So imagine what 1 to 3% would have been. We only losing a couple of dollars because we're not in it to stay in trades just to wait for something to develop. No, we're not doing that. We're in it to get in and get our 3 to 7% and get out. That's it. Simple. We're in and out. And we're looking for trades that work right away, like this. This is what I consider working right away. So as soon as we get in, the momentum continues. Or maybe after one candle, the momentum continues. So let's say we got in here, but this candle started to pull back. As long as it doesn't reach our 1 to 3%, let's say 3% max, we continue the trade. Let's say we got close to 3%, maybe it hit 2.7. But then the next candle we took off, right? And now we started this momentum upward. So cool. That's what we're looking for. But notice these percentages, right? 13%, 13%, 19, almost 20, 33%. What I was telling you guys, like, look how much you're making, man. $100. 33% return is $100. A 20% return is $60. That's what I was like, man, a 13% return is $40. And that 90, man, that 90 plus percent or we was over $260, man. That's almost 100% return. Now I still have one contract open because I wanted to show you guys once you get to this point, like you made your entry here in this zone and the stock took off, we're basically waiting to see like, okay, let's see how much further this stock is going to move, because we can afford to sit with this one contract. That's why it's better to scale, to have multiple contracts so you can do that. But if you only got the one contract, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. to do that. So you get the one contract, and let's say you make it all the way to this point, and you're like, should I get out? Well, you can. Or you can say, well, my contract doesn't expire until 4 days from now. So let's see if the contract, if the stock begins to pull back, let me see how the furthest, have a price point in mind, like have a key level in mind. Like, hey, I'll wait to see, as long as we don't break below this level, I'll stay in the trade. So let's say we came close to this level, but we never did. So you decided to stay in overnight. Now look what happens overnight. So this is where we closed. This is what's happening after hours. Now look what happens the next day, which is today, right? We gap up. Is that a gap? No, that's a candle. The low is 353, 80, 350. Okay, yeah, no, that's a candle. And now we're even higher from where we closed. Remember, we closed here at 348 and change. Now we're even higher. We're at 353 and change, 354 basically. So that's why you want to consider holding on to your contract. So you could have bought two if you could afford to, or you could have just held the one and say, okay, I'll wait till the next day, see what happens. If we start to pull back significantly, remember, here's your predetermined zone. So as long as we don't come to this zone, you can stay in. The moment we start to break below this zone, that's when you can exit your trade still at a profit. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Like, look, I still have this one contract of the 10 still running. So, but this is how much I made on each of those contracts, scaling out at different key levels. And one other point that I want to show you guys, this is crazy because you're going to be like, yo, what? Like, yeah, man, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. Let's see. Track P&L. Nope. Give me 1 second. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so check this out, right? And then after this, I'll talk about my strategy today, and yeah, go from there. So listen, I did the calculations with, and like I said, all you guys got to do is just comment in the comment section. Hey, uh, send me these charts. You can say one chart, both charts, whatever. Just say, if you say charts plural with an S, then I know you want both. If you just say chart, just say first chart or second chart. This is the second link, right, or second chart. I was looking at something as I was entering into my larger positions of 10 to 50K. And I was asking my friend before I even began a couple of months ago, I was like, yo, do you know what the lowest contract is? Like the lowest position you can make and still make the same amount of money versus entering larger positions like I'm doing of 10 to 50K? Like, can I still make the same amount of money um, or reach my target goal or profit with a lower position? And he didn't know. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to figure this out on my own. So this is just simply math, right? Simple math, right? Um, when I say math, I'm just saying like it could be proven with mathematics, right? You don't have to like overly complicate this. This is not theory. This is not guesswork. This is just math, right? And so you don't have to be a math whiz. All you have to use is like chat gpt to help you calculate it, and you can use this tool now to dictate. If you don't even know how to articulate what you're wanting, you can say, hey, click this button and say, help me articulate my thoughts, and then just go into what it is that you're thinking, and chat gpt will understand, because I use this a lot. I'm not great at articulating my thoughts. I need time to process it, but otherwise I'll ramble on. But this is a very, very great tool, and all you have to do is prefix every input with help me articulate my thoughts and then go into your proceed with your thoughts, even if it's unorganized. Chat will figure it out. It's really good at it. And then it will provide you the concise input, right? It'll say, here's what you mean, here's a more polished articulation, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, I asked ChatGPT to calculate this compounded return, right? So what we're looking for is $100. What can we do with $100? Like, what is the possibility? Okay, so if I have $100, how much could I expect if I was to receive a 3% return on this $100 once I put it in the stock market, right? And as far as buying option contracts. So, and I said, I want a range. I want between 3 to 7% because it's not always guaranteed that I'm going to get 3%. It might be higher. And it's not always guaranteed I'm going to get 7%. It might be lower. So I wanted to get that range between 3 to 7% because that's what I've been seeing has been my net gains. As you can see from my trades, I'm getting like 3% or greater. So that's what I'm just like, man, okay, so let me just look at the average. So if I feel like my average is roughly 3 to 7%, that's why I was just like, yo, if I'm getting wait a minute, what would that actually do if I were to just have and a lesser amount and achieve that 3 to 7% daily? What would that do? Because I'm like, I start with $100, earn 3%, take the $100 plus the 3% gain and reinvest it. Now that earn 3%. I take that and put it right back and put it back in. What does that look like? So that's what I'm looking for. And so after ChatGPT calculated it, it said that 3% can net you $169,000. Now, how do we come up with this calculation? Well, what I asked ChatGPT to do is I said, hey, Chat, because here's what I was looking at. I'm articulating this. I click the button. I'm sharing with Chat what I'm thinking. I'm like, help me understand something because I want you to calculate this. If I take $100 and I reinvest it, that plus the gain, if I get like 3%, also, if I consider the total number of trading days, because the market isn't open every single day, right? There's weekends where the market is closed and there's holidays, right? So I was like, and you take into consideration the number of trading days left in this year, okay? So obviously we have 6 months, but there's only 132 trading days left. So that's what this represents here. So it took that and calculated it and said, okay, based on that input, here's what the numbers would look like. And this is assuming we win every single day for the next 132 days. That's not likely. It's possible, but highly unlikely. But if we did that 3% and won every single trade for the next 132 days, that $100 could net us 169,000. Why should you think about this? Like think about it. Like, why is this so powerful? Remember, I said I'm going to show you something powerful with money, because this isn't about becoming a day trader. This is about investing. This is about growing your money so you can stop living paycheck to paycheck. So all I'm doing is I'm not here to teach people. I'm not here to train people. I'm here to demonstrate what steps I'm taking to learn the best way to grow money. Okay. I'm revealing my sources and how I'm arriving at these conclusions. Okay. I start with some sort of thesis or theory, and then I come up with a plan. I execute the plan, and then I show you the report, right? I show you the results. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have a license. I'm not doing any of that, but I am really good with money. Okay. So what I care about is just getting to the hard facts. That's it. And so what I wanted to do was figure out like, let me see what this would look like. So now that I have the information, right? Next thing is time for execution. So that's what I did yesterday. So I did the calculation. I'm like, let me see. So yesterday, obviously, made well over 3 to 7%, right? Well over. But that's an outlier. We're not going to always have these types of trends right out the gate. And you're going to take losses. But what we want to do is cap our losses to 1 to 3%. That's what I said. If our goal is 3 to 7, we don't want to exceed this number. Okay. We don't 1 to 3%. So that way, the strategy itself will net us a 60% win rate. A 60% win rate. So all you have to do is calculate that 60% of this amount because you're considering, well, okay, um, and I can do that for you real quick. Take, um, oops, sorry, 69% of, and then, oops, I meant 60%. 60% of. So then we can look at this and say, okay, this is 100%. So this is assuming we 100% we win every single trade, but we're not. We're only going to win 60%. So 60% of this total amount would equal, you know, 100,000, 100,000. And so now think about it. What if you only did 10%? 10%. So then we're looking at 16,000, right? Because, or let's just cap it at round it off 17,000, right? This is powerful because I'm trying to help you see, like, if all you did was took that one contract and continued to just reinvest it and let it ride for, like, the days just based on my signal, it's like, hey, get in, put the trade in here because this is low risk. We're taking a low risk amount, right? We're saying like 300 bucks, and we're just going to put that in and let it ride. Okay. And we're going to continue to reinvest the 300 plus whatever the gains are each trade, right? And we keep reinvesting it. And what begins to happen is we grow, we begin to compound our growth. We begin to compound the growth because this is so crazy. This is just math, man. And so it's like, wait, how can think about how powerful this is? This you can make 17,132 days. You could be $17,000 richer. 17,000 between 17,000 to $170,000 richer in the next 132 days. I listen, I'm not here to sell anybody a fantasy or a dream. That's not my goal because that's not what I aim to do. But what my goal is to do is to prove. All right. I come up with some sort of thesis and I look to see how realistic and how probable this actually is. So my goal is to execute this um step by step, like same way I'm telling you. Enter the trade, goal of 3 to 7%. If I make more, great. I might even achieve my goal before 132 days if it keeps going the way my trade went today. Obviously that's less likely, but hey, it is possible. Now, here's a chart. And like I said, I can send you the link to both of these so you can take a look at it for yourself. Okay. Or I could just take a screenshot of the chart and put it in a Word doc or something, a Google Doc. And so here you have that $100. I just want to go over this quickly. So you have that $100, right, across all the different percentages, possible percentages. And then you have the days. So day one, day two, day three, and so forth. So if we take $103 and we reinvest it, that can become 106. We take that 106 and reinvest it. Assuming we make 3%, it becomes 109. And you can see how the numbers just grow, especially as the percentages grow. So if we go all the way to the end of day, oops, sorry, go all the way to the end at 132, 133 days, right? Look at these percentages. So on the low end of the range, we can make close to 5,000, 4,900, right? On the far end, high end, if we assuming 7% consistently, and again, this is assuming we don't take any L's, right? This is all straight wins. 756,000. But that's why I said all you have to do is take that number and divide it, and take 60% of that. And then you can see what's realistic because we're going to lose some trades. So we're saying 6 out of 10 trades based on the strategy, we're going to win. Now, this is what I've been told by my mentors. Okay, I got two different mentors in two different communities. So they both use a similar strategy. It's a breakout and retest strategy. And because there's variation to this breakout and retest strategy. And so I'm looking at my win rate. As you can see, my win rate is 55%. And you can see why I'm up, right? My average win rate, win amount, right, is this. My average loss amount is this because I've been reducing my stop loss limit. At first, it was as high as 18%. I was like, that's too high. Then I went down to 5 to 7%. I was like, that's still too high. So then I reduced it to 1 to 4%. And that's better because that 1 to 4% is in line with my average win. I don't want this to supersede this. So now I've gotten this down. This was a well over 1,000. This is well over 1,000. So you can see I've reduced it. So you can see if you stick to the proven strategy and the strict stop loss limit, how possible this is. So as long as I maintain this 55% and my losses are less, so you can see I'm like close to that 6 out of 10, so like 4.5 for my losses, five and 5.5, 6 for my wins. This is all I have to focus on doing is just maintaining that. And you can see I'm doing just that this month. I'm being very careful with my trades because the trades themselves, you're looking for A plus setups. If you find that once they present themselves, you will get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. And that will make up for the days that you didn't trade. That's what I'm saying. I don't have to trade every single day. I look for the A plus setup. And if I don't see it today, then I'll wait for it tomorrow. I'll look for it tomorrow. I'm not sitting in the whole day. I'm not waiting for this all day. I wait for, the first hour. If I don't see it in that first hour, then I just call it a day and wait for the next day. Yesterday, I would have made a lot of money yesterday. A lot of money. So it would have been 5 to 10K or greater. That would have been a nice one, a nice one. But hey, it is what it is. So now that I showed you guys this, like I said, if you want the chart, man, look at how that compounded growth works, man. Because all you're doing is taking that same contract, putting it back in with the gains, putting it back, reinvesting it, reinvesting it for the next 132 days and watching it grow. And you don't have to figure out like, oh, what do I look for? You can learn this gradually at your own pace and just execute based on my signal. So you guys would join my Discord and then you'd execute based on my signal, right? Because we're not looking to lose money, we're looking to make money. Okay, so you would just enter my signal. Now, if you choose to stay in beyond my signal to get out, that's on you. That's up to you. But as you get comfortable, you might decide to stay in a little bit longer, or cut your losses shorter. It's up to you. But based on what I'm doing, the strategy was told to me that it works. It's proven. My mentor consistently makes money. He reveals his same thing that I just showed you guys. He reveals that as well. So he shows his journal and what his win rates are, win and losses and the win average rate. So that's really key to be able to see that transparency and see like, oh, so man, there's months where he's like less than this. He's like at 30%. And the loss percentage is much greater. But because of the strategy itself, the strategy nets him greater wins. Now, I'm not staying in the same way he stays in, like I showed you earlier today. Like he'll stay in those trades and suffer those losses. But when he wins big. Okay. And it makes up for the losses, even though they look huge for us. I'm like, let me build up my account, my brokerage account much more. And once I get to that point, then cool. I've already lost $40,000. Remember, I said in my previous videos, if those who've already seen those if you're new to this, what I did this year was I ended up using their strategy and I made 20K that first week. Yo, it was crazy. I was excited. And I was like, man, this is too easy. So I thought. And then I started throwing money at the market, and then I ended up losing that very next week over the course of 7 days, 40,000. So I lost the 20,000 I gained plus 20,000 of my own money. And then the following week, I ended up like the frustration, my psychology was off. I ended up losing another 3 to 4,000. So a total of 25,000 of my own money. Now, so I was like, let me get serious. So I joined their community, my second mentor's community, because he focuses a lot on Tesla, which my other mentor focuses on mini tickers because he answered questions for mini tickers for the community. So I can't really get that hyper focused information that I want for Tesla specifically. So my second mentor, he does, right? So I joined his community. It cost me $3,500. So you get to get this information for free. Okay. And you get to come alongside. And if you have questions, I could throw that in the chat in that community, either of those communities, and get an answer, right? So you get that for free. But my point is that I almost forgot what I was talking about. Like I said, I will ramble on sometimes. But my point is that his wins executing his strategy makes up for those losses. Once I build up my account to, first of all, recoup my 25K that I lost, once I get that back, then and I start making, playing with the house's money. So let's say I make 10K, then I'll execute that strategy with a risk position of, like I said, like let's say out of the 10K, I'll do what I'm showing you guys here. Show you make a trade with the 3K. No, I don't want to save. So see how that total position was 3,000. So of the 10, I could do that. I could say, okay, let me enter into this position, and then I'll sit through that entire position as my mentor does. And as I start to make money and continue to build up the account, then I'll start increasing my position size. Okay. And so I'll do that gradually because that's what he recommends to do anyway. So I'm not going to just jump in the water, right? I'm going to dip my toe into the pool and see, how it feels. Okay. So with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap up the video, this pre-market prep with my strategy coming into today. Let's take a look at the markets real quick. Wow. Wow. Okay, the markets are up. Okay, so SPY is up. QQQ is up as well. Wow. Man, today might be crazy. It's not a guarantee, but today looks promising. Today looks promising. We are super up. We're above the previous day high. That's crazy. Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so coming into today, Tesla's just below its previous day high, right? So here's what I like to see coming into today. I have these key levels. You can ignore the red lines. This is the 5 minute zone. So this is a 5 minute zone, these two. This is the top of the zone, bottom of the zone, and this is another 5 minute zone. What I was doing is marking out on the 5 minute these two candles. The top, remember, a key level is previous day high or a previous low and previous high, right? Old highs, old lows. That's all you have to look at. So this is the low, this is the high, this is the low, this is the high. So these are the zones that I marked out. So I like to see, the reaction off of these key levels or zones that I marked out. But you can ignore these two zones. This is what I drew out on the 5 minute chart. Okay. So here's what I'm looking for coming into today. What I'd like to see, since we're already close to this pre-market low, is I'd like to see us come into the market and check the reaction off this pre-market low. And I'd like to see a bounce off of this pre-market low for a continuation up, right? I'd like to see a retest, a break above the previous day high, and a retest of the previous day high for a continuation up. Okay. And if that happens, that gives me strong indication that we definitely will continue this upward trend, and the likelihood of me having a successful trade is probable, right? So once I see the retest of this key level, and if I see buyers step in aggressively, then I'll enter into this trade. But that's what I'm looking for, as well as other confluence, making sure that both SPY and QQQ are also showing strength, right, in that direction. If we come into the market and kind of, consolidate a little bit, and maybe we decide to break below, then I'd be looking for the reaction to this key level again, 350, the pre-market low, right? If we break and then retest this key level, then we might continue heavy. And I'd like to check the reaction off this next key level of 351.46. So if we retest this level and continue heavy to the downside, then I won't be interested in making any trades unless I can see a quick sniping opportunity, because the market is overall it's up. So if the markets begin to make its way or reverse to the downside, then maybe I'll look for a scalping opportunity. But for as long as SPY and Qs are showing upward momentum, then remember, Tesla is still up. Okay, we're still up from this was the yesterday we broke well above the previous day high. Okay, so we're just under yesterday's previous day high, because this is the previous day high, so we're just under that. So I'll be watching the reaction off of this. So we just boxed in this activity here. So I'll be watching the activity between this range, right, off the pre-market high or the pre-market low. And if we come into the open, like I said, I'd like to see, if we start out strong, I'd like to see a break above either of these two key levels and a retest. So either one of these would be fine. So if we start out strong, then we come back, maybe we retest this level and continue, or we break strong above the pre-mark or previous day, we retest, and then we continue. Even if we continue to came back, I like to see buyers hold, this key level of 359. So that's what I'm looking at coming into today. So I'm going to wrap up this video. If you found value in this video, like and subscribe and follow for more. And I'm out. See you guys tomorrow.